The Conservation Commission for July 19th open. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Well moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Please second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. All right, we have a new public hearing.
Not me.
Not you. Is that Peter?
Good evening, everybody.
All right,
Hey,
let
Peter.
me share screen.
Do you want me to pull the plan up so I can point around a little bit?
Yes, why don't you?
Okay.
You gotta admit, Andrew.
Hold on a minute.
I think you're gonna have to cancel yours and
Yep.
allow me permission.
Let's see here.
You might. I think you might still be. I don't know. I know you paused it.
If you
But-
click on his name,
Let me see.
you get
Did I give him? Yeah, he should.
Peter, can you share it yet?
Negative. I'm still saying host disabled participant screen sharing.
Let's see.
This is what I would not be good at.
Let's see.
Go under the security.
Yep. Thank you. Got it. All right, you should be all set now.
All right. Can we see the plan?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it big enough? Do you want me to zoom in or out or anything?
No, I think you're good.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
All right, I'll go over it and then we can zoom around the plan as it makes sense. We'll start with the big picture. Just for the record, I'm Peter Lyons with Collins Civil Engineering Group, representing the homeowner here at 91 River Street for an RDA pertaining to a septic repair of a failed residential septic system. We are on River Street, right across from the town river, delineated with the dark blue line and the associative BVW in green right along it. We additionally have a bordering vegetated wetland off-site to the north. The purple lines on the plan represent the 100-foot buffer to the BVW, and the light blue lines are the 100-foot inner riparian zone and the 200-foot outer riparian. This is a pretty big lot, so we did have a little bit of flexibility with this design. We were able to balance the system pretty evenly outside both of the 100-foot resource limits. We are within the 200-foot to the town river itself. And again, if we were to go outside of that area, it would push us into the 100-foot buffer in the back. We found pretty tough soils on this site, but we did find a suitable location in a clearing to the western portion of the property, just inside of the existing tree line. Our proposal out here is to eliminate the existing pit and leaching trench and an additional leaching pit off the back of the house, combine the flows in a 1,500-gallon septic tank and provide a 1,000-gallon pump chamber to an elevated leaching bed of plastic chambers. Looks like we'll be coming up about 4 feet above existing grade due to very high groundwater in the area. We're not anticipating any vegetation removal. The area is an existing open field. with grass vegetation. We've provided erosion control around the entire project, encompassing the work limit of the leaching field and the tanks and all of the excavation required to tie in the existing pipes. We've provided an additional work limit erosion control line on the southern end of the project. So it's basically contained on all sides. Site access will occur just inside of the 50-foot buffer. There's really no way around that. So we've provided, again, the erosion control on the edges of that and a 16 by 20 foot crushed stone tracking pad to keep the debris out of the road. All of our standard notes, keeping the site clean, contractor to sweep it, DEP file number to be put up. Couple quick numbers, total lot disturbance is just over 13,000 square feet. The work will be spread out over a pretty large area because we have to place the field so far away from the house. Disturbance within the 100-foot BBW is just under 3,000 square feet. Within the 100-foot inner riparian is 2,570 square feet. Within the 200 is 13,000 square feet. So yeah, we're not expecting any tree removal. It's existing lawn, going to be going back to lawn. The only difference is going to be a mounded system in the side, which ultimately is better than a failed system within the 100-foot buffer to the resource area. So we would consider this an improvement. I'll take any questions from the commission now. Thank you.
See the entrance to the work area, that's open anyways, right? It's like a driveway going in there?
Yeah, it's a pretty open access. I mean, we were able to fit a large excavator through there, so dump trucks and stuff, there shouldn't be an issue. It's a little tight with the bigger trucks, but it should be workable.
Yeah, okay.
That's the exit for the Beaverton Woods, too, isn't it?
Right,
Yeah,
to the
down
left
on the
of that.
left.
Yep.
And this is Walsh's house.
Yeah.
John, did you have any comments or anything?
All I can say is that it was a good job and that they put everything on the plan that requires attention to the environmental part of it, the typical conservation part of it, so that the contractor knows what needs to be done. So I would recommend a issuance of a -3 determination and a issuance of an administrative stormwater permit, which just comes out of the office and doesn't require the public hearing.
All right, anybody else here for questions, comments?
So it's a good thing you got all that space to work with. It made it work a lot better for you.
Yep.
All right, not hearing any other comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second that?
Mo and Lee. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. I'll entertain a motion to issue a -3 and issue a general stormwater permit.
I'll make that motion.
Yes, second that.
And Lee second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you very much.
Sure. I got the next.
You got the next one too. So we have 170 Ash Street. Again, it's a
Same
septic
thing.
system repair.
Yes, it is. Is that up for display?
Yep, you got it.
Awesome. Again, for the record, Peter with Collins Engineering Group, representing the homeowner. This is 170 Ash Street in RDA for a septic repair. This is a deep but skinny lot on the west edge of the town river. The buffers on the plan, we show the town river by the dark blue in the back and an associative BBW line in green, approximately 100 feet up from the mean high water line. Up where the work's going, we see our 100-foot buffer to the BBW, as well as pretty much parallels with the 200 foot to the mean high water line. Our proposal for this is to abandon the existing septic tank in the back, and the existing leaching field will be replaced on the north side of the home. So this is going to be another pump system, a 1,500 gallon tank to a 1,000 gallon pump chamber, and a pipe and stone leaching field with about a 2 foot elevation change, 1.5 to 2 feet over the existing field. We are able to keep all the components outside of the resource area and the associated buffers. We will, however, be working with our erosion control just inside of that, just to gain access to this area. So there will be no structures within the buffers, but we will need temporary site access. We'll be as close as 92 feet to the wetland. The erosion control line starts at the house, wraps around the project, and ends back up on Ash Street. The system, as well as the erosion control limit, has been staked out in the field. So there's no guesswork or anything by the contractor. So that will be accurately installed. We proposed soil stockpile area out in the front yard, well outside of the buffers. Same with our dewatering pit location, if required. We propose that out right along the edge of Ash Street. Sorry for these little yellow boxes that keep popping up. That's about it. A lot less disturbance on this one. Total disturbance is 5,500 square feet. 450 of that is within the 100 foot BVW buffer. As mentioned, that's strictly site access. Dewatering pit details, erosion control details shown on the plan. All of our standard wetland notes listed above, right here. I'm not going to read them all, but if you guys would like to, you can. Again, this is a failed system, so it's an improvement to the existing situation. We've done everything we can to maximize our distance to the resource areas. Not much else to be done on this one. So that is my presentation.
Right.
And I'll take any questions.
Anybody have questions?
So the erosion control, the erosion control is gonna be right on the 100-foot buffer, right?
The erosion control is, it's along actually the 200-foot mean high water buffer, but it's just inside the 100-foot BVW.
Yeah, so you don't plan on going outside that then?
Nope.
Okay.
Carol?
Hey, could you just show me again where the new septic's gonna be?
So let me get a little closer for us. So the new leaching field is going to be this sandy kind of hashed-in area right here.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And the septic tanks will be installed first, and then they'll kind of back their way out of the site. They'll do the plumbing to the tanks first, and then excavate the existing leaching field and create the new bed. We're basically replacing the field that's already there. So that's all going to be excavated, removed, and disposed of.
I appreciate the color in your presentation. That helps me, and also the way in which you have explained. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
John, did you have anything?
As with the other one, this is a good job, and it will require the administrative stormwater permit. But I do have a question, and I want the commission to think about it a little bit. And I don't know if the owner is there at the meeting, but you'll notice where the wetland line is and where the tree line is that the owner has been using. And so I want to know how the commission desires to handle that situation.
Oh, I see a garden down there, yeah, that's right.
So you can see that to the right of that green line, which is the flagged wetland line, there is an area that's being used as part of the property, and it should be restricted.
And same with the shed.
John, how is it being used?
It looks as if it's being used as part of the lawn area, the yard area.
So they just mow it, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if the owner's there, but they might be able to speak to it.
Anybody here for
Does-
170? Ash, okay.
does
Is
that,
this one of those historical situations? It's always been that way, but of course it is being modified.
but does that property go all the way down?
It goes right to the river.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
So,
So if the owner isn't there, Peter, do you remember what it looked like when you were doing the field work?
I was out here for the perk test, but I did not do the survey on this one. So
Okay.
honestly, I have no idea what it looks like. I know we show the tree line with some significant trees on site. So we have it labeled as lawn. So I would imagine it's, maintained lawn area right up until the tree line.
So what the commission has done in the past is we've had them put conservation markers along the wetland line itself. Not normally it goes along the 50-foot buffer, but as you can see, that's been historically used as lawn. So I would recommend that the commission require conservation markers at wetland flag 2, 4, and 5A,
Yep.
and so forth, until the property line on the south side of it.
Is it an older home?
so.
It's not new construction or relatively new, is it?
No, that house has been there quite a while. I mean,
Because you notice what's interesting
especially
is
the property
whoever
goes
put
all
the
down.
garden in knew where the 50 was.
Yeah, where it keeps it wet.
So they, whether they knew they were inside the inside the 50, I don't know, but they knew where the wetland line is.
I don't know about that.
See
Most likely
WF5A.
Most likely they didn't know.
Most likely they didn't, because if the property goes all the way back, they just using
Yeah.
it. But they got another garden up there.
The top right corner of the garden stops right at the
Oh, at that one right there, the new one.
wetland line.
Yeah, I don't think they.
yeah, that's why I think
they probably-
John's recommending to put the markers right where the wetland flags are, not where the 50-foot is, and at least
Right.
give them access to what they've historically done beyond the wetland line out, but not from the wetland line closer to the
I
river.
mean, maybe that garden was put in before we had a 50-foot.
Right. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I would go along with that.
Tim, could you clarify for me there?
Yep.
What would this, you put the markers in that
Which-
they could not?
yeah, what
mow?
John's recommending is putting the markers where the wetland flags are,
Yeah. I
which
see
would
that.
be the green dotted line,
Okay,
which we typically go where the 50-foot line is, but if that was the case, that would be the orange line. So the shed and a good chunk of their lawn and the whole garden
Yeah.
would then be in the 50-foot no touch.
And if this is-
But that's pretty much all been lawn, and it's
Yeah.
probably been lawn for 30-plus years at least.
and if it was new construction, it would be on the.
okay. So what are we thinking then?
So making them put the markers in where the wetland flag is, so that we give
At least it's,
basically the
Mark.
previously disturbed up to the house from the wetland line. But the area that's been disturbed beyond the wetland line towards the river would be a no-touch zone.
Okay, so they could keep the shed and mow up to the.
Keep the shed and keep the garden,
Okay,
and use that. But the area going towards the river, which is the area that really needs to be protected as a resource, would still be protected.
sounds like a good plan. Thank you.
All right. Anything else, John?
Nope.
So then, at that point, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
motion to close.
Second.
Mo moved, Lee seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Moved. I will entertain a motion to issue a general stormwater permit.
I'll make that motion.
Second that.
Mo and Lee. And, John, -3 with conditions of markers?
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion with a -3 with condition of markers.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Mo and Lee, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 So moved. Nice try, John.
Sorry. Sorry.
All right, you're all set.
All right, that's all I got for you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Peter.
Good job on the plans.
Good
Yep,
job.
thanks.
Okay, next we have a continued public hearing for 1 Sandy Hill Road. For an in-ground swimming pool.
That's me. Did you want to put it on the screen or do you want me to talk from the board?
Let's see here, I will, hold on one second, share that.
And I did bring handouts if you want to take it. Because I was actually informed. I have another official copy. Can I do that first?
Okay,
It's not
thank
the
you.
one you have, but I'll
Okay.
explain. So the digital one that he just put up had some clerical errors.
A print.
A typo.
Oh,
a lot
nice.
labeled, so I figured I would just make the official copy. Official, again, it was
I miss
tiny.
these.
I had a layer labeled. Okay. Last time we were here, we had concerns about where the pool was going in relationship to the existing no-touch and conservation easement. So we spoke to the homeowners, and they've agreed to everything you asked for. We shrunk the concrete apron by 2 feet and 2 feet, and we shifted it outside the 50. We are putting the stairs off the deck in the opposite direction, so that we're not encroaching on the 50. We are putting the conservation markers on the conservation easement that was once approved and signed, and then homeowners will have to sign some paperwork to, formalize that. They've agreed, if not already relocated the shed. I was told they were doing it, I can visually inspect it, but they had already committed to moving the shed. I moved all the grading outside as best I could. I left a little bit of room for the sedimentation barrier so that they can actually move around when they relocate gas and everything. So there is still that tiny strip of temporary disturbance. It will be loaned and seeded and completed. And I did leave a little roadmap on the side here that says what I was doing, and I think that was it.
Relocate gas, you mean the propane tanks?
No, there's a gas line and a water line that needs to be relocated.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, we squeeze everything in there.
Wow.
The record drawings for the gas show that it comes out of the side of the house and goes to the street. And then the water line comes out of the side of the house and goes around the septic. So there'll be a lot of utility work and grading, because they're gonna push that wall, that block retaining wall, which was one thing that wasn't labeled, which is on that corrected version in front of you. Not on the screen. It's labeled as a block retaining wall. So I believe that was everything the commission asked for last time we were here. I don't think, if I missed something, please let me know.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
John, anything? Oh,
Yes, I recommend approving and issuing an order of conditions under the local bylaw, since this isn't under the jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act. And what a condition that is normally required, plus a requirement to record a conservation easement on the area shown as conservation easement.
okay, Carol, did you have something?
I think I want to say happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for
Happy
remembering.
birthday.
Yes.
Could I add something? I wanted to sing her a happy birthday song,
Oh.
so I'll start it.
Oh my.
All right.
Rebecca, this is your happy birthday song,
Oh.
and it isn't very long. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Just what you expected.
Thank you,
Just
John.
always.
Does anybody else here have comments? All right.
Not
I
like John
couldn't
said.
hear anything that was said, so I'm trusting that what we have
Yes, I
covered
need a
is
microphone.
okay.
Yes. we have-
Everything looks good, Carol.
Yep, everything,
Separate it up.
they put everything we were looking for onto the plan and agreed to move the shed, so
Okay.
All right. Hearing nothing more, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
So moved. And I'll entertain a motion to issue a permit under the town bylaw and require the recording of the conservation easement.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Moved, Lee seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. All right, next we have continued public hearing for off West Street, Old West Street, for an ANRAD.
Hey guys, this is Andrew Tebow with Gallery Consulting representing the applicant. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Excellent. So we wanted to come today and provide an update, and first of all, thank the commission and John for your patience as we paused work for a while. We had some work to do internally. So we wanted to come tonight and basically give our formal request to please restart this project, for John to continue his review. I know the field work was going to be done internally after the filing fee for this large site. So we anxiously await your field work, and we're in your notes, and we're happy to get this thing moving again.
All right.
I didn't really catch everything he said.
They're
This one's
looking to
done.
just restart
Yeah.
the process and start
Get the okay.
proving
for
where the wetland line is and actually get it moved forward.
it. Move
Yeah,
forward.
they did that though, didn't they?
Right, we're waiting for John's final update, and we're waiting to move forward. So, do you have anything to add, John?
No, now that I know they're going to move forward, I had asked the engineer who had prepared the plan to put wetland flagging numbers on the lines that they were indicating to be approved. And we haven't got that yet, and I didn't make an issue out of it because it was being continued until they took their decisions internally what they wanted to do with this project. So at this point, I will send a email out asking for them to provide that, and then we can continue on. It might be a little difficult logistically for me now, but I think we can work out something.
Yeah, keep us in the loop also. If we need boots on the ground, we can probably figure that out.
Yeah.
So we really can't set a date for another.
Right, it's just an update and
Yeah.
moving forward with it.
So my question would be, Andrew, how long can you continue this so that we can get back into the mode of approving the lines?
Certainly, so we're happy to work with you guys now, on your timeline. I think my question to that would be, your rough timeline of when you think that the good work could start. We weren't aware if you had started the field work or if you are going to be getting that now. So I think where you stand on your review process will probably dictate, where we continue to, but we're happy to work with you so we can get this done together.
So based on that, I would say that it should be continued at least to the second meeting in August.
So we continue to the 16th?
That'll be a minimum, so it may have to go, after that, but we can do it at each meeting at that point.
Okay. If that works.
Sounds great on our end.
Okay, if that works, then I will entertain a motion to continue to August 16th.
I'll make that motion.
Second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, now we have 5 Manley Street for a general stormwater permit.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Chairman, Chairwoman, members of the commission, concerned parties in the audience. My name is David Mappo with Kelly Engineering Group. We are back here again this time. I think we were back here last on the 7th of June, at which time we had received a peer review letter, and we continued to the next hearing, and we didn't have everything fully resolved by that next hearing, so we politely requested a continuance to this hearing. We did get a chance to respond to the 3 outstanding comments of the peer review letter of, I think, late June, and we're able to get a letter today from Allen and Major that has all of the comments squared away. We had been sitting on the record copies, waiting till those were approved. I did bring them today. In case there was a last minute change, I would have made them. There's two 24 by 36 sets and one stormwater report for the file.
All right.
Those are identical to the ones referenced in the Allen and Major
Okay.
letter. The commission and the agent already have the electronic copies of those. So to refresh the commission, the project, and I think we have the
Yeah, I can.
the slides if we want to just put them up. To refresh the commission, this is a redesign of the 5-Manley warehouse building that was previously approved in 2017. Bringing everybody up to speed, the 2017 project was more of a flex building, possibly maybe some manufacturing with more parking and a little bit less building. Marcus Partners, who are here with me today, Mr. Josh Berman is here with me to answer any questions that the commission may have about the building or the construction. This is a traditional, more of a box warehouse that we were able to reconfigure by having less parking to get some better and more appropriate loading that might get this one leased out. We had taken the original design as kind of a base parameter that does have an existing order of conditions and kind of redid everything and gone through the peer review. The peer review in total netted one potential waiver if the commission feels that it's appropriate to vote for it. It's one of the G sections that requires that all stormwater calculations assume that the existing conditions of the ground are in good condition. We kind of mimicked some of the first existing conditions of the older report that didn't do that. And we also know that this particular case, we actually have a motocross track out there. Secondly, our goal here is to provide as much groundwater recharge as possible due to the proximity of the town drinking water wells and meeting those practices and taking advantage of the good soils. So we felt that was an appropriate waiver if the commission sees that one is actually needed. We've requested that through the peer review. The only other things that came out of the peer review were recommended or required conditions of approval. Looking through your standard orders of conditions, all of those things are encompassed within there anyways, and they were in the previous one. One was to let the commission know and its agent when our SWIP is ready to file with the EPA, and a copy is provided, at least electronically, to the commission. And the other one was to provide a detailed construction schedule, because the bylaw requires phasing be provided, and this project really isn't going to be phased. They're going to build it all at once, but they can provide a schedule once the contractor determines the order in which they're going to do everything. So those were the things that came out of the peer review. The other items that were left to discuss, I believe there was really just the one. The big difference between 2017 and now is they redid the Mass Natural Heritage Endangered Species maps. We were able to work with LEC as a consultant and find out that it was the Blandon turtle. We submitted our documents, including these plans, to Mass Natural Heritage, who issued us the no-take letter. And what we had discussed last time, the total property is about 27.7 acres. And we think about 17 and a half of those can go back to the town. And what we'd like to do is donate it to the town. And the Mass Natural Heritage letter allows 6 months from the close of the public hearing and issuance of certificate of compliance to demonstrate that we have a mechanism to get that land protected. That would either go in the form of a conservation restriction, which is a little bit more legwork, or a A&R plan and donate the land. Those were the things that were left off. We're welcome to talk about anything here, but those are the things. Just to refresh the votes that we do need is as laid out in my narrative. Submitting the application, we need to maintain the existing variance to work within the 50-foot no-touch to get the project done. Detailed on the plans was a bunch of restoration areas where some of the deep tracks were. In addition to that, some of that may be changed, but we've agreed that LEC is going to oversee pretty much all of the work outside the limit of the work for restoration and plantings, and then also some nesting habitat for the landing turtle. So I think those were all of the, the things that need to be incorporated into an order if the commission chooses to issue one. And I think John probably has a great handle on all of that stuff anyways. And it sounds like your standard order of conditions covers a lot of those things. And other updates, we did get to go to the planning board on June 29th. The planning board voted unanimously to approve the project as modified. The modifications to that, we did have a planning board permit as well from 2017. Modifications were similar. We made a very similar explanation. And
did you do the original?
I did not.
Oh, that was that someone else?
I think it was Bracken Engineering.
Was it another developer or?
The original developer is the land seller.
Okay.
And they had that and weren't able to get anybody to come in and do it. So they did an A&R.
Just curious.
They did an A&R plan, which enticed Marcus Partners to have a look at the plan, and they looked at the old plan. I think they did call Bracken Engineering to try to redo it, but they couldn't fit into their schedule. We've been working with Marcus Partners all over the state, and we're having a lot of success with them building some buildings and getting them fully tenanted. So that's where we're at. And I know we've been coming here since March, a little bit off and on, but we think we're in a position that John's reviewed the project. We've thoroughly discussed it with the commission. We've got the peer review checked off, and we also have the planning board approval.
Good.
So we think we're ready. Assuming the commission is, we're ready to move forward.
So wouldn't the land that you were talking about donating to the town,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't that be protected anyways, even if it wasn't donated?
Yes.
So
Right, they're gonna have to put a restriction on it if they don't donate it. If they donate it, then the town owns it, we restrict it by the fact that we own it.
Yes.
You putting the restriction, just a little more legwork.
It goes to more lawyers, more back and forth.
Is it taxable?
Well, that's the
More
other thing.
plans.
I know you said you were going to look at it, not to be a pain, but what was the difference in between the donating and saving the money on taxes compared to since you can't do anything?
It has
anyway?
nothing to do with the taxes. It had to do more with, as LEC in our experience with CRs, getting them approved through natural heritage is a much more laborious process than having the commission just take jurisdiction of the land, which is more, satisfies them. And
But for tax purposes,
for tax purposes, I don't think that the applicant cares about paying taxes on the extra
No.
land.
Which realistically is gonna be minimal compared to the rest of the
It's gonna be minimal,
site. So
'cause, it's pretty much wetlands anyway. I don't know what the raw land tax value is for wetlands. As a condition, I mean, maybe we could just make it creative and say that we could come up with, I don't even think we researched it, to be honest with you. At least I didn't. I don't know if the applicant did. But they're not worried about a couple of extra dollars to pay in taxes yet.
Yeah.
This is more of making sure that we can get it done in 6 months, and you're happy with it. It gives you, title to the land and more land to manage.
Sure.
And you say we're going to go out there and like reconstruct some of take care of the ruts?
Yeah,
You guys are going to do that, or?
We're going to do the ones that are adjacent to the property. One of the major things is to fill one of them in and replant it all, bring in a little bit of topsoil. And then from the original submission of the plan, one thing that did change is we found out what the endangered species was.
Right.
So instead of a little area getting more vegetation, we're going to bring in some coarse sand and create a nesting habitat. And that will all be supervised by LEC.
Yeah.
Everything outside the limit of work, any restoration work, planting, they'll work with the landscapers to get anything planted and then oversee that. So one of the first things that we'll probably need to do, depending on the time of year, to comply with the letter, depending on when we get started, you might have to do a turtle sweep. We'll put up our barriers right away and keep construction equipment, so the turtles can't get into that area. I'm not overly familiar with all of the migration timeframes, but our consultant is. And I think we're hitting it in a good time right now.
I have a question. What's LEC?
LEC is our environmental consultants.
Okay.
John, did you have anything?
I wanted to comment, I did receive an email from Phil, from Allen and Major, the consultant, and he did pretty much outline what Mr. Mackwell had just done for the commission. And he indicated that if the commission was willing to grant that waiver from calling the site good conditions, which is part of the bylaw requirements, which you have a right to waive parts of it, to poor, which is more indicative of how I see that property out there with all of the damage that the trail bikes and four-wheelers have done out there. And so that ground surface is really in poor condition. So it has merit to for the commission to waive that, and so I would recommend waiving it and issuing an order of conditions with requirements that were outlined tonight about the natural heritage endangered species requirements of restricting the use of that property in one way or another, and in order to be able to roll that all into conditions, we would need to have the conditions, order conditions issued within 21 days of the close of the hearing, which gives us a little bit of time to put that all together.
Okay, because my only concern, and I understand where Lee goes with the property, I have two. One is, if it's owned by the town, we can regulate a little bit more who gets access to it. And we won't have problems, hopefully, with ATVs or dirt bike coming in onto it again.
Correct.
Where instead of the property owner having to deal with that, probably going to be a little more difficult.
But-
The other advantage to us taking the land is when we've had problems or we've needed land like the DEP one where we had the Scotland Street land. It's near the wellheads. We can use that as part of our mitigation when they have to go before the DEP to increase the water pumping or
Yeah, good
any
point.
compensation. It's just more land that the town has to offer up as,
Providing we own it.
right, and it's ours and not a restriction that's still owned by somebody else.
Yeah.
So,
Another thing it may be used for as the town moves forward with managing open spaces and other things could potentially be
Yeah.
land value, land massed up to get grant money for certain things if you have it. But like I said, we're not trying to,
right,
we're not
right.
trying to split hairs. We're working with us and having gone through some of these CRs, the lawyers all looking at the technicalities of it, and all of a sudden we're gonna go over to 6 months.
That's right.
So, yeah, all right, so say if we take over the land, how much property would the property owner own then?
About 10 and a half.
About 10 and a half?
Yeah.
Okay.
10 point.
He's got no,
10.2.
and he has no problem with that? No,
And
whatsoever?
that's enough for whatever future or whatever needs they need.
We feel it's
Yeah.
pretty much, there's some isolated upland out in the middle,
Yeah.
but we can't get to it.
Yeah.
We can't get to it.
You guys are willing to do the, basically reconstructing of the
Right, and that's-
habitat and the
We dealt
ruts
with
and all
the-
that stuff, which is a good thing, so.
Yeah.
We dealt with the snow before, didn't we?
yeah.
Plowing and all that, yeah.
And if you guys want them to do more work on the property that would become yours as the guys are out there, I'm sure that we could work something out. You know, if there's a little bit of trail work or whatever. I know John had mentioned some things, but we don't know. We're not overly familiar, and we're not putting our fists down either. I think that's one of those things that within what we say tonight, we can work it out with John of the condition.
Yep.
We're gonna be, the condition can be as simple as comply with the Mass Natural Heritage Letter.
Yeah.
Because that gives the option that we donate the land to the Conservation Commission entity, or we provide the CR.
It's gonna be nice to get that property developed.
Yeah. Get it cleaned up and get it.
And then we could get, we think we can get about 17 and a half acres without violating zoning or anything to the charter.
Be good revenue coming in for the town too. So, yep.
All right, anybody else here have any questions, comments? Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second that.
In a second?
Yep.
Seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. I'll entertain a motion to issue a rating of poor on the site and a general order of conditions and a general stormwater management bylaw permit.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your time. Have a great evening.
You're welcome.
He said it, and it'll get worked. We just said, he mentioned it. It's in the
Okay.
record as far as we're concerned.
Now we have a bunch of administrative stuff.
Thank you. We'll get out of your way.
I won't.
What do you have left here for?
She's the
That
next
way
one.
we can get you out of here to go celebrate your birthday.
The
Yeah.
next
I
one.
have 4 on this administrative list that interest me. 1 Sandy Hill and the 3 for 457 South Main Street. And yes, they're waiting for ice cream cake at home, so.
All right, 1 Sandy Hill Road.
Have your birthday gathering.
Yes.
Request certificate of compliance under the local bylaw only.
So this is for the.
So I recommend issuing a order of condition, certificate of compliance without a bond on Sandy Hill. This is for the original construction of the house, and it was never
That long ago?
requested for a certificate of compliance. So this is going to close out that.
Well, they're doing it because
original
they
one.
have to do it now because they're doing what they're
That
doing.
has nothing to do with the
Yeah.
new project. That's
Well,
going to have to
yes,
get
it
a
does.
certificate of
It
compliance.
does, but it doesn't.
Eventually all of it
So this is
itself,
just-
but it's the one that was never closed.
Oh.
Right,
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
the 2010
all
one.
right.
Format.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to issue this CFC.
Without the bond by Mo.
Yeah.
Second.
Second that.
And second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. And next we can do 457 South Main Street.
So these are 3 different DEP numbers that are still, they were recorded, but no certificate of compliance was ever requested or issued. So I would recommend issuing a certificate of compliance for all 3 with the condition that one of the DEP file numbers, and I don't have it with me. I think it's the middle one, not the oldest one, not the newest one. It's the middle one.
814.
Required a conservation easement
455.
on the property, and it was never done.
What was-
So it can be done after the fact at this point, but we would hold the certificate until that was complied with.
So, can I chime in?
Yep.
I've had a chance to speak with the applicant.
So wait, where is 457 anyways?
Okay, so this is the one I just did a water line. Let me bring you up to speed.
Yeah, because I'm
This is
trying to
one here.
figure out where that,
John, give me a second, yeah.
where this is.
So, here we are. This is the red barn across from Ash, next to,
Okay.
you kind of know where I am, right?
Yep.
Okay, so here you go. You see where I am? We are right here, South Main, Ash, the red barn with the building in the back. We did a water line just recently.
Oh, way out back.
Yeah, so this was, the first one
Oh,
was
yeah,
this
yeah,
part,
yeah, okay.
Collins, the second one was this
Okay.
part with ET Engineering and some, and
All
the
right.
third part was me doing the water line extension because it burned down.
The one that burned down, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so over time, it started, he was gonna do one thing in the front, he did it, he was gonna try to push and do a crossing in the back. That he backed out of that. The conservation easement was for the crossing to the back. Now, he'd really like to avoid the conservation easement at this point, only because he has hopes that we're going to come in and show you something that you're going to like to get to the back. So, I can't say for sure, but that's what he's telling me that he wants to do, is somehow get to the back with your blessings.
Can we put a condition on it saying
Okay,
whether
right.
we like it or don't like it? No, and then if we don't like it, it's gotta be that way. Can we put a condition on that or no?
I don't know how that works.
It's kinda,
So does this
Well, at this
kind of
point, if we
voids
don't
doing any of this,
record-
right?
If we don't record the easement or the restriction, At this point, he has to come back with a plan to do anything back there
Exactly.
anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So he can't touch it, he can't go
Can't do
there
anything.
all right.
without us
Reflag,
permitting
We have to get the wetland line reapproved.
Tim,
Yep.
let me interject here. I believe it's that middle
The middle one, yeah.
file number
Yep.
had an order of conditions that required the conservation easement. It had wording that said that if the owner were to propose a project with the commission, that at that time the conservation easement would be amended
Oh,
to allow whatever the commission decided to allow, so that it doesn't lock it in forever.
So it's
The wording that was written in the order of conditions left that door open, and so wouldn't the conservation easement that would be written up. What the applicant needs to do is have their engineering representative draw up a conservation exhibit plan. The commission would write up the order of conditions in accordance with that, conservation easement in accordance with the order of conditions wording, leaving that door open for him to come to the commission in the future. So it's complying with the original order, which was not appealed at the time, and it was recorded. And it does allow the door to be open for future crossing of the wetlands out there and getting to other lands of the owner.
It does say that. I have it here.
Right, which,
So
if
it's
it was
basically-
part of the certificate of compliance,
It's
in order to
perfect.
get the, I mean, the order of conditions, to get the certificate of compliance, you have to meet the order of
I have
conditions,
that.
so.
Okay?
If we put an easement on anything, can we come back later and change that
Well,
easement?
the wording here says.
Just in general.
The conservation easement shall be worded to allow the landowner to modify the easement if the commission approves any future work
Right.
westerly of the work
So we
shown.
can modify it if we want to.
But I mean,
Typically, it's
easements
like an
in
act of
general.
Congress to get it changed, if you
Well,
don't
that's-
have the wording,
Gotcha.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So we have to choose our words wisely.
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's worded in there, so.
It is
Right,
worded.
Gonna
so,
make it a lot
yeah,
easier.
John, good call, John, he's actually
I had
right.
to ask.
Right, no, I hear you, I mean, John caught that one, so I think, yeah, we're gonna have to get it recorded in that way there. It met,
Can we review the wording that is gonna be used
yes.
before we commit to anything? I don't know if you.
John, will you send her a draft wording document that they can put on to their plan, so it matches?
Not the plan, just,
Or-
well,
Cool.
the exhibit plan, well.
Right, because you're gonna need an exhibit
Well, I
of,
was gonna do a little 8.5 by 11.
right, yep, yeah, it doesn't have to be,
Attachment,
yep,
okay.
So what we do is, we write up the conservation easement, and it will refer to the exhibit plan that Rebecca will draw up, and it doesn't have to be recordable. It actually is attached to the conservation easement. The property owner has to sign it, so they're going to have a chance to look at it. And then the Conservation Commission chairman has to sign it after the owner signs it, and then it gets recorded. So there's plenty of opportunity for them to see what we're proposing.
So that protects it before it gets.
All right.
It is.
all right. So now that we got that cleared up,
I'm supposed to ask about releasing a surety, but I'm thinking I'm too soon. There was a surety on one of them. Was there a surety on one of them, John?
Oh, just like with Carol, we cannot hear
what,
anything.
oh, sorry, was there a surety required on any of those, John? I can't remember, I don't,
He's at,
No,
yeah, there
I
was,
don't think so for the water line.
he's telling me there's a
If
bond.
there is, they have to, after they record the certificate, they have to request the surety bond to return.
After recording?
yep, yep,
So that we only return it after it's been recorded. So if there was one for that water line, I don't believe there was on the other two file numbers, but it may have been one on the water line,
You put a
and
surety
that
on
would be
this one.
returned
to
after
make sure
the
the
certificates are recorded.
Yeah.
Okay, so after
the
recording. Okay.
yep,
Okay,
okay.
not the answer.
Any other questions?
But that's the answer.
Okay,
Just a note for Rebecca, that form to request it is on the website, under the wetland permitting forms
Got it.
for the Conservation Commission.
That's the town website?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so 2 out of the 3. Okay. All right.
Well, we can issue all 3. We'll just hold the middle one until it's recorded. And that way
However
there.
that works. Okay, I
If
just gotta report back.
That way there you can go back to your client and say, okay, we've.
Yeah, I tried.
Sign. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion for certificate of compliances for all 3, but holding the middle one until everything's recorded.
I'll make that motion.
Should we say the number,
Moved.
Oh, I can if you like.
just to
Yeah.
keep it on record?
Yep.
328555.
328555, hold that one?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you so much for taking me a little bit on the road.
Okay, now you can go off and celebrate your birthday,
Thanks,
and thank you for
Rebecca.
coming
Thank you.
in.
Happy
Bye,
birthday.
thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
2.
All right, continued the request for certificate of compliance for 10 Hartstone Street. John, do you have anything on that one?
That one I recommend issuing without a bond.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to issue certificate of compliance.
I'll make that motion.
Second that.
Mo and Lee, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 These are all things that are getting cleaned up.
Yeah, this is cleaning up a
Yeah.
lot of housework.
Yeah.
Next, John, we have 586 Manley Street. Permit violation update and a request.
We're keeping those 2 on the agendas because the prospective buyer of the property will be filing a complete new set of plans, order, notice intent, general stormwater management permit, and so the pressure is on the current owner to square away the violation fine and also get the recording of the COC. So I'm going to recommend that we just put it on the next agenda until we get the plans in for the project that's going to take over that whole site.
Okay, so that's basically just an update, so we'll just keep that on the agenda until we get a new filing. Next, I have some invoices, which I don't think we scanned. No, we didn't scan them in, but I can read them and tell you what they are, unless we have a request from Allen and Major.
Do we have to vote on that?
Huh? Yep, they're all.
No, do we have to vote on that to continue those?
No, they're just administrative, so they can be just continued and left on the.
Administrative,
Yeah, because it's not a hearing and it's.
True.
So we have a request for Allen and Major for a payment. So I'll hand that around. We actually have two.
Is that one for, there's 2 of them?
There's 2 of them. There's one for $2,500 and there's one for $3,150.
So those are 5 Manley and 0 United, maybe?
Hyde Manley and, let me double check, John. Just want to see. Yep, United and Manley Street. And then we have another invoice for the advertising in the Mass Municipal website for John's position. And that was for $150. And I'll hand that one down. And then we have another one for return of surety for 53 South Elm Street. And that is for $1,500.
That's to release it.
You got a pen?
And that was all we had. So I'll entertain a motion to approve payment on all of those.
No. I'll make a
Motion.
motion.
Oh,
Motion for approval?
oh,
Yes.
yes. I'll second that.
Jason moved, Lee seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Does anybody else have anything else?
IDs.
Do you have an update on
Hearing
that?
nothing.
Do you have an update on the
Before
IDs?
you go off, I
Yes,
just want to
yep.
make sure the attendance is proper here. You, of course,
Yep.
and Carol, Lee, Mo, and did I hear Jason?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Nope. So the ones we were missing was Paula and Steve did not make it.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody have anything else?
Did we have an update on the ID thing? The IDs?
John, are we still waiting on a few photos from people for IDs?
I don't need a photo of mine.
Oh, thank you. I have Mo, I think I have Carol,
You know, I don't need a photo.
And
and I
yes,
think I
yes,
have
mine.
Jason.
Yep.
Okay,
I
so
don't need a
it's,
photo.
Am I right that both Carol and Jason sent
yes.
them by
Yep.
email?
Yep. They've said they both sent them out to you.
Okay. And then Mo's has an actual physical one, and if there's anyone else, let me know, because if that's it, I'm going to ask Linda to go ahead and order them all at once rather than as they came in.
Yeah, I don't need an ID on mine, John, so I'm all set.
Okay. Lee says he's passing on it,
Okay.
and so we just have to.
Yeah.
We can follow up with Steve and check and see, but he would be the only other, and Paula,
All right.
and I'll see
So
what they want to do.
I will tell her tomorrow
Okay.
that we'll move forward with it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Lee, how come you're passing? Is there something I should know about passing?
No, I just don't need a photo ID. I'll just take the ID. I don't really care. I don't really care about the photo ID.
All right, I just want to get myself in trouble here.
No, nothing bad there, Carol.
All right. Anybody else have anything more?
No.
All right. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So, John, before.